welcome everyone to GeoHug. So I'm just promoting you up as panelists. Please don't be shy. Come on through, get the mics on, get the cameras on. I'm very excited. We've got Jess Scanlan with us today. But before we do get stuck into today's session, I would just like to take this time to acknowledge the traditional lands which are all coming from today. I live on the beautiful lands of the Gadigal of the people of the Aurora Nation, and I'd like to pay my respects to the elders past, present, and future. And yes, I am very excited that we do have Jess Scanlan with us today. So Jess is a geological engineer who leverages her unique blend of underground mining operations experience and social media marketing expertise through her company Mine Life Media, her boutique agency serving the mining industry. So after earning her degree from Montana Tech and working for 5 years as a production geologist at an underground mine, Jess transitioned into digital marketing, where she became passionate about finding innovative ways to share mining's vital stories. So it is going to be absolutely brilliant hearing from her today about her insights and views on social media for mining. So thank you so much, Jess, for joining us today. It's amazing having you here.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm so excited. We got the Jess power happening today.
Yes, the Jess power. I love this. It's so good. I was really curious before we get stuck into your presentation, what got you into geology in the first place?
Yeah, it's such a long story, so I'll try and keep it short. Basically, so my dad owns a construction company, so I'm used to being around the very kind of like blue collar work in the dirt kind of work, growing up around that. And when I was going to school, I wanted to be a geologist, but my dad told me that engineers make more money. So I'm like, let's go be a geological engineer then. And as I was looking for colleges, we had like a college fair, and Montana Tech had this booth, and it had a screen behind it, and it was just a video of an open pit blast. And I'm like, I'm hooked. I'm going to Montana Tech. And if you've not been to Butte, Montana, you might know its name because it is a mining town. So once I got there, I discovered mining, and my path just went on from there.
I love this. So what's been some of your favorite places that you've been so far with work?
Yeah. So recently with my new career track here, I've been able to travel a lot for work, which has been amazing. I've been on a couple of different client sites, and I also just work remotely now, so I'm able to travel and see different parts of the world. A couple weeks ago, I was in Valley of Fire State Park in Nevada, which was amazing. If you've not been, I've kissed the Blarney Stone in Ireland, which
Hey,
was so
that's
much
fun.
fun. Yeah, so and then earlier in January, I was on a client site in Minnesota and got to see some banded iron formations that were amazing.
Wow, that's so cool. Oh, well, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so excited to hear your perspectives. And yeah, I'm just so grateful that you've taken the time to talk to us. If you want to, yeah, share your screen and we'll get stuck into it. I'm looking forward to it.
So yeah, as Jess mentioned, my name is Jess. I'm the principal at Mine Life Media, which is a boutique agency serving the mining industry and the people serving the mining industry, such as industry advocacy groups, outreach groups, supply side, kind of business development side. So anything involved with rocks and mining, we we take on as clients, which is fantastic. Um, so Jess always says to bring a pet rock, and unfortunately, I'm traveling this week, and I did not think TSA would take too kindly to me bringing Dwayne. So if you are here to see Dwayne, I apologize. He's not here. You can jump off now. Just kidding. But as I said, geotourism is a huge part of my love and passions. It's part of what I love about geology is we have this different view into the world as geologists. We can see this history, and it just adds a whole different level to travel. So these are some of the favorite places I've been over the past few years. Obviously, the Cliffs of Moher. We have a volcano in Costa Rica, Antelope Canyon down there in Arizona, and then my dog Hazel on the far side there at Bighorn Canyon. So just some really cool places. I just love getting to see the different rocks around the world. So that's what I'm doing instead of my pet rock. But I promise Dwayne will make an appearance at some point. So usually when I talk about my career, the two questions I get are, how did you get into this? And are you crazy? I'll answer the first one a little bit more in depth here really quickly, and then I'll let you determine the second one because I don't have a good answer for that. So as I said, my dad owns a construction company, which is how I got into mining. My degree is in geological engineering with a geophysics minor and a mining emphasis, which is kind of like another minor from Montana Tech University. And that's where I fell in love with mining. As I said, I got kind of hooked on the mining program while I was there. I worked as an underground tour guide at the World Museum of Mining during my school there, and just found a love of being able to like share the stories of the mining history of the town. And I would say it's kind of where I got this like geo-communication passion. One of my professors actually recommended me for that job because I had such a terrible time public speaking that I was like failing my classes because I couldn't give presentations. So he was like, go do this job, just immerse yourself into it. And I love it so much. I still go give tours occasionally on a volunteer basis. So I love spending time there. After school, I went to work underground at a platinum palladium mine in Montana. Not a heck of a lot of those, so it's easy to narrow down. And I spent 5 years there. And I also spent 2 summers previously interning there. It was a fantastic career. I got to learn a lot. But as things tend to happen, I got burnt out. I was working the same shift as the miners, working nights, weekends away from my family, 5 on, 4 off, which is not as hard as the 2 weeks on that you all have in Australia. But it still took a toll on me, and I just got super burnt out and cranky. And I realized that I was taking my coworkers down with me, just the mood, the vibe. So I started thinking that I had to do something else, and I wasn't quite sure what else I was going to do. Um, During 2020, I got into sharing some travels and some like underground mine exploration on social media. I had a little hard hat sticker company that I was doing. And I started kind of talking about my work to try and get myself like ramped back up for it on TikTok because, you know, TikTok was taking off at that point. Um, and I was like, man, this is a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. It got picked up a little bit on LinkedIn that I was kind of doing this stuff. And so when I posted that I was looking for new career opportunities, I was approached by a technology company um, to see if I wanted to be their head of new media and do their marketing and social media marketing for them, um, which was a bit of a crazy thing. I had not considered that as a career path. But it was just an initial 3 month contract. I was like, you know what, 3 months, let's do this. Let's see what happens. Worst case scenario, in 3 months, I go get a job at another mine, right? But I didn't. I really enjoyed it. I found out that I was pretty okay at it. And I was able to learn and grow. I took classes, and I realized that this is just a niche that the mining industry doesn't really utilize. So about a year ago, I went full-time freelance and registered Mine Life Media as its own boutique agency. We only had the one client at the time, and now we have grown to 10 clients from around the mining industry, and it's been an amazing experience. And we're really excited to be a part of the mining industry and working on bringing social media to mining. So that's kind of the background there. So what is Mine Life Media? These are our core content pillars. Education, outreach, and public perception. I believe that social media goes a long way in meeting the public where they are. Obviously, how many hours do we spend scrolling on social media? And helping to educate and, if not change perception, at least help inform decisions, which I think is really important. We also have a business development side of Mine Life Media. Obviously, LinkedIn is a huge platform for us. And so we work on building business development as well as company culture. Again, I was in a position where I was super burnt out on the mining industry. I have a lot of friends that are leaving the industry completely because there's a lot of burnout happening, a lot of mental health issues happening. So really working on building out that company culture, using social media to celebrate employee wins, that kind of stuff. And also just innovative thinking and idea testing, whether that be using AI imagery, like the little Jess in the corner there, or, you know, just testing out something new and see if it works. So that's kind of our content pillars and what we work on when we're thinking of our clients. And that leads into why mining and geology on social media? Like, why should we even embrace social media? So the three things that I see here is the first is education. So again, we're meeting people where they are in a hopefully not too intrusive way, right? We're not trying to sell ourselves, but we're trying to educate, inform, and entertain. And so I do that a lot through geotourism. That's like one of my passion projects. This year I started the rock record, which I'm challenging myself once a month to make a geotourism video of my travels and just kind of explain the different rocks and the scenery around me. And that just comes with that education aspect. Again, public perception. Obviously, would love to improve public perception of the mining industry. Mining has come a long way from the past. There's still a long way to go in many different aspects, but allowing the public to create informed decisions without just them like seeing what's coming in through the traditional media and social media. Um, Being able to share our story in a different way is hugely important. And like I said, industry culture to celebrate those employee wins. So those line up perfectly with the Mind Life Media core pillars there. Awesome. So these are the six main platforms that we focus on at Mind Life Media when it comes to social media. Obviously, there's a lot more. There's Snapchat, there's Reddit, there's a million different social media platforms out there, but these are the six that we like to focus on. I'm not going to make you all read those little bullet points. This is being recorded, so if you want to go back and read these like further in depth, then we can do that. But LinkedIn, Facebook, X is now, or Twitter is now X. I still call it Twitter personally. It's terrible. Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And each of these platforms have different audiences, different goals, different ways we talk to them. Not even just like when we're thinking about our target audiences, like you're not going to talk to the general public on LinkedIn. I know my friend Hayden is huge into advocating for that. When you're thinking kind of olderish generation, we're thinking Facebook. When we're thinking youngerish generation, we're thinking TikTok. So thinking about where your target audiences spend their most time is hugely important for social media. So rather than read all those little bullet points, this is kind of where I see target audiences and where we kind of focus our target audiences are on depending on our clients' goals at Mind Life Media. So general public, if we're talking to them, we spend most of our time on Facebook and Instagram, occasionally on X, but that is more for like investors and geologists and industry. I do have a little yellow X for investors on TikTok and Instagram. I think this is a really interesting opportunity that the mining industry doesn't embrace yet. There's a huge transfer of wealth coming up soon. And as we're thinking of those kind of younger generations getting started in investing, then I think TikTok and Instagram could be a great platform for educating for investment if it's done in an interesting and engaging way. Obviously, just posting your quarterly results on Instagram and TikTok is not going to be that way. But I think it's a great potential platform for people who are kind of in a younger audience who will be investing soon. And then obviously employees, all three, all of these different platforms can be used, but they all can be used in different ways. So LinkedIn and X, you got to think like people are maybe looking for jobs or looking for company culture. Facebook is where we want to share like employee wins, like things that employees want to share with their families. And then TikTok and Instagram, kind of that fun content that they want to share as well. So these are some interesting stats. I recently did an internal study at Mind Life Media of our clients and similar clients around the industry. So this included mining companies and their projects, industry suppliers, outreach organizations, and advocacy groups. Not surprisingly, 84% of these companies in my study were on LinkedIn. Like I said, that's kind of where the industry tends to live. So that doesn't surprise us at all. Most of the ones that make up that other percentage were the outreach organizations that weren't on LinkedIn because they spend most of their time on other platforms, which we appreciate for them. 80% were on Facebook. Facebook is still one of the largest social media platforms in the world. Most everybody, even those younger audiences have a Facebook, even if they're not active on them. I know I don't post on my Facebook unless it's for like my mom. So, so we have that. And then 70% were on Twitter and X, Twitter/X. So surprising, maybe not surprising. I definitely would be interested in hearing your guys' thoughts on if this is surprising or not. But as we look for different platforms, 64% of the companies that were studied were on Instagram. Now, being on Instagram, like having a profile, is not the same as being active on Instagram. Most of this percentage were these outreach organizations and advocacy groups. The mining companies and industry suppliers that are on Instagram, a lot of them, I don't have the exact percentage in front of me, but a lot of them look like they like saved the username and then never posted, right? So being on Instagram and being active on Instagram are very different things. 15% were on TikTok, which was a higher percentage than I initially guessed, if I'm being fully honest. Again, most of these are those outreach organizations, museums, etc. The statistic that bugged me the most of this entire study is that of all of these 155 mining companies, industry or suppliers, outreach organizations, and advocacy groups, only 84% had their social media listed on their website. If you have a social media page, you should have it listed on your website, and it should work, right? Making sure those buttons work is very important. And vice versa, if you have a social media profile, maybe consider adding a link in bio to your website for people who want to learn more. So that's a call to action for anybody here who does not have their social media on their website. Please do that. These are some questions that I've shared on LinkedIn over the last few months as I'm kind of trying to figure out where things go, and just what we in the industry perceive versus like what's actually happening. So especially on the employee culture side, how often do you share your company's social media posts? Pretty even spread here, but I would definitely say the occasionally and rarely are never, like where we want to focus. I have a belief that if you are in a company and even your employees aren't sharing the posts, maybe it's time to rethink that strategy. Employee advocacy is a huge thing that we focus on at Mind Life Media, getting employees to want to participate in social media or at least share the posts. We understand that not everyone is into social media or wants to be a part of that, especially if it's outside their job description. But definitely creating content, especially if you have a company culture focus that your employees want to share, is huge. And that leads me to do you have interest in participating in your company's social media? A lot of people surprisingly said they did. I know social media has a lot of mental health issues as well as the mining industry, so the combo of the two can be very tough. But it surprised me how many people said that they would love to participate in their company's social media, whether that be with ideas or content creation. So I have some tips on that coming up soon. This was an interesting one for me. Is it up to current miners and geologists to help solve the mining and geology talent crisis? I believe in Australia, you all are in the similar situation that we are here in Canada and US. Yeah, that there is a huge lack of mining engineers, geologists coming through universities. So 75% of people said yes, it's up to us. And 11% said, no, it's not my job, or I'm at the fence. I am in the 11% that I'm on the fence, actually. I believe that if you want to play a role in it, just like if you would like to play a role in your company's social media, then you absolutely should, and I would highly encourage you to do that. But I don't believe it is up to us alone. I think, like I said, the industry has a perception to change, a culture to change, and employee advocacy and employee culture comes with that. So there's that. And then finally, what's stopping you from creating content? If you all are watching this wanting to learn how to be better on social media, or I apologize, I'm dog sitting if you can hear them. Okay, they're puppies and they're like barking like crazy. So definitely coming up with ideas. All of these are like different issues that people have, but the actual content creation is really difficult. I sympathize with that. There's nothing worse than having to, set up the camera, or gosh forbid, film in public. That's a fear that I'm getting over currently. And so definitely focus on like where those kind of stopping points are for you, those difficulty points, and how to overcome them, whether that's using things like ChatGPT to help you come up with ideas, or maybe enlisting a friend so you guys can do content creation together. I use ChatGPT to edit my written content because I am not a great writer. So definitely encourage you that. So those are just some insights on the social media side of things that I wanted to share that I thought might be interesting. Finally, what we've all been waiting for to come to action here. So ready, set, go. What are some tips and tricks for getting started or improving? So first off, I'm going to address all of you watching. And then if any of you are decision makers for your companies, I also have some tips and tricks there. So for all of you watching, these are for you. If you have interest in being a part of your company's social media, please let someone know, whether that be HR, your marketing department, whoever's running your social media. I am certain that they would be super happy to know that you have interest in participating in that. If it's maybe developing an employee advocacy program, something like that, just let somebody know, let your advisor know, your supervisor. The second one for me is start messy. And I say this a lot. Social media changes constantly. LinkedIn just put out new company pages like this week. The Instagram stickers are terrible right now, right? You know, Twitter is now X. Social media changes constantly. There is never going to be a perfect moment to start. Start messy. Start learning. I learn every single day. I had a post on YouTube that got 30,000 views a couple weeks ago, and I had my last one get 100. So start messy, figure out what people are seeing, what's resonating with your audience, what you can improve on. Maybe your messaging needs to be adjusted, but you're never gonna know any of that unless you just start. So yeah, this one's a hot debate. Focus on community over followers. At My Life Media, we consider following a vanity metric. I love to see it grow. It's so exciting to see those numbers go up each week. But for me and my clients, we focus more on engagement rate and building a community and building trust. And so, yes, the follower metrics are great, but actually seeing those people engage and building that trust is more important to us. So that's a hot take. I know people have a lot of feelings on that one, but I consider, and my company considers, followers a vanity metric. And also just finally, remember to listen to yourself, your needs, your priorities, your brain. Like I said, mining is a tough culture mentally in anyways. Social media has proven statistics that it leads to depression and mental health issues. So you should never be forced to create. If you need a break, feel free to do that. I literally do social media for my job, and I still make sure to schedule time in for myself. You're not going to do anyone any good if you are just throwing stuff out there that's, you're bored, you're done with it. I was in a situation last year where I got some LinkedIn messages from somebody while I was traveling and on vacation, and they're like, "You're not even making videos." I'm like, "I'm making videos, I'm just not posting them because I'm enjoying my time instead of sitting here editing them." And it got to be very rude. And so feel free to, I give you permission to take time for yourself. And that's really, really important if this is something that you wanted to get into. For companies, invest in your employee communication skills. So I believe Hayden's on Geologize was huge in my career. I still take all of the courses that I can. These are all of the Geologize licenses in Australia for universities, but companies also do them. Invest in your employee communication skills that way, and allow them to talk. I know a lot of mining companies have these like no social media posting policies and stuff, but empowering your employees by training them with proper good communication skills is hugely important. And I believe that will hugely drive public perception change. Leverage employee content and branding. Once you have allowed them to create content, repost that content. Somebody gets their professional geologist thing, repost that on LinkedIn, share a little bit about them on Facebook, allow them to share it with their family, show that you're proud of them. and really help build the employee culture that way. This one's a big one for me. Don't post and ghost. I see so many companies doing this. Engaging with your audience, again, is building that community. And that is so important to help build that trust aspect. If you're just posting stuff out and you're not answering people's questions, you're just another faceless brand. So definitely recommend, even if you can't, like I know a lot of investors ask a lot of questions on Facebook. Some of them can be a little bit pushy. What I recommend is, saying something like, be sure to follow us to stay up to date. We'll be releasing more as we're able to, that kind of stuff. Obviously, with public mining companies, things are very tricky on what you can and can't say. So even if it's just a canned response, like, we'll get back to you later on that. That's still just engaging. That's still showing that you saw that message. And then, like I said, make sure your social media icons are on your website and that they work. Going back to the employee advocacy thing, I know the graphic in the corner is a little bit small there, but the 561% there in the middle is a huge one. So it's 561% more reach for company messages shared by employees. And that's a statistic from Sprout Social for social media in general across all niches and stuff. But people tend to trust people more than they do brands. It's something we see with our clients all the time. Obviously we manage company pages, we don't manage personal pages, but when team members are sharing that, or we're resharing like employee or team members posts, we just get so much more engagement, so much more reach, and it's amazing to see that community grow that way. Just a little small selfless blurb here. I'm working on the blog right now. We're posting about once a month. We try and post little things like tips and tricks. This is our most recent blog post that includes things like make sure your icons work and don't post and ghost. So we're working on building that out even more. So follow my LinkedIn to see more tips and tricks that way. Little shameless plug there, sorry. That's it for the presentation. I wanted to keep it really short and kind of open-ended to really get some discussion. I know Australia is very different than the US and Canada, so I'd love to hear your guys' ideas, your perceptions of companies and personal social media, anything like that. So I'd love to open that up, Jess.
This has been, so brilliant. So thank you. So grateful. So I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you so much.